There has never been a kingdom like it upon the earth. When the Prophet Sulaiman, peace be upon him, raised his hands in prayer, he asked his Lord for a dominion belonging to no one after him. The Almighty answered. He was granted an empire stretching far beyond the physical realms of mortal men. His dominion pierced the unseen. He commanded the raging winds, directing them to carry his massive throne across months of travel in a single day. He held absolute authority over the formidable Jinn, commanding them to dive into the darkest oceans and build towering fortresses. Even the birds of the sky were bound to his command, flying in perfect military formation to cast a vast shadow over his sprawling empire. Every blessing he received he attributed entirely to the grace of the Creator, ruling his kingdom with unyielding humility. When the army of Sulaiman marched, the earth trembled. It was a spectacle of terrifying power. Ranks of heavily armored cavalry moved like a sea of glinting iron under the desert sun. Towering shadowed Jinn, bound by divine command, marched in forced servitude, their massive strides shaking the bedrock. The sky turned dark as flocks of eagles blotted out the light, creating a canopy of wings, men, spirits, and beasts, an unstoppable force of unparalleled majesty, moving as one colossal entity. They swept across the ancient world, a living testament to the supremacy of the Creator who subjugated them to a single prophet. No enemy could stand before them. They were the physical manifestation of divine authority on earth, striking fear into the hearts of tyrants. As this colossal force advanced, they approached an expanse known as the Valley of Ants. To the towering Jinn and heavily armored men, the ground was merely shifting dust. But beneath the thud of their boots, a vast unseen civilization was thriving. Millions of fragile lives moved through the sand, entirely oblivious to the apocalyptic storm of iron and flesh bearing down upon them. But as the vanguard of the great army drew near, violent vibrations reached the valley floor. Amidst the terrifying chaos, a microscopic voice cried out from the crushed earth. A solitary ant, sensing the impending doom of her colony, stood before the trembling grains of sand and raised a frantic alarm. "O ants, enter your dwellings, lest Sulaiman and his soldiers crush you while they perceive it not." It was a tiny, desperate plea, drowned out by the roar of 100,000 soldiers. But the prophet of God was not an ordinary king. Through the roaring winds and the clash of iron armor, Sulaiman heard the tiny creature. The Almighty had miraculously tuned his ears to the secret languages of the beasts, the birds, and the insects. The commander of men, beasts, and spirits immediately raised his hand. He ordered his magnificent army to a grinding halt. The thundering drums ceased. The towering Jinn stood motionless. The sea of iron paused. The grandest king the world had ever known brought his conquering army to a dead standstill, all so that a colony of ants could safely retreat beneath the sand. He looked down at the earth. He did not let the vastness of his power breed arrogant pride in his heart. He did not dismiss the life beneath his heel as insignificant. He knew the ant had spoken the absolute truth. His massive army would have crushed them without realizing it. Sulaiman smiled, amused and deeply moved by her urgent words. In that moment of absolute supremacy, he did not boast of his might. Instead, he raised his hands to the heavens, tears of gratitude welling in his eyes. He recognized that his ability to hear the ant, to command the wind, and to rule the earth were entirely temporary gifts entrusted to him by the divine. He prayed with absolute submission. "My Lord, enable me to be grateful for your favor which you have bestowed upon me and upon my parents, and to do righteousness of which you approve, and admit me by your mercy into the ranks of your righteous servants." It remains a timeless lesson etched into history. True majesty is never found in the capacity to oppress or destroy. Ultimate power is found in the humility to recognize the Creator, and in the profound mercy shown to the absolute weakest of His creation.